Hi, everybody. This is episode 12 of the Eagle Buster approach to playing the races. And I danced for about an hour and a half before I go over to with my friends at 8:30. Again, I'm going to pass the early races, even though I'm learning that the early races seem to offer a little bit more value than the latter races, which is completely opposite of the way it used to be for me when I used to play. And I think that's because before I was looking for certainty, playing races that like playing the Whitney, 7 horse fields, because I'm not intimidated. It's only 7 horse fields. It's easier. Um, but now my approach is completely opposite in every way. I've made a paradigm change. I left the playground of trying to pick winners. I'm not in that playground anymore. My ego's been busted. That's why I say the ego buster. And now I'm more bullseye handicapping, which is focusing on just playing only races when I'm wowed. Um, and I was wowed yesterday. I mean, the results yesterday were a lot like last Friday, actually. Um, and I remember last week, Wednesday, the sloppy day, no interest. That's too much chaos. That's total insanity. You really have to get lucky. It seems to be sometimes formful on those days because of all the scratches and not enough horses in the field. But no doubt about it, I was wowed yesterday. I was wowed by the fact that um, Manny Franco had a really good day. He's like a B plus guy who's graduated to being now an A player. And I'm happy for the guy because he's just it's just like everything about it's a great story. So that was a really enjoyable wow experience, and you don't have that when you're playing too many races. You don't have that if you've been playing Wednesday, Thursday, and all day yesterday, because that's about 30 races you could play, 30 to 50 races. I chose not to play any of them because I wasn't wowed and I wanted to wait till today. I wanted to wait for the prom. I didn't want to keep going to dance after dance after dance because those dances, Mike Tyson's in there, and every race you play, you're going in around with Mike Tyson, and you have 30 to 50 opportunities from Wednesday to today. How did you do? I mean, did you get your ass whooped by him, or did you avoid him? Did you beat the shit out of him? All kinds of different narratives. But the most important thing a horse player can do for themselves is to get them their mojo. I call it the flow and glow. Letting bits make you, and um, having a felt sense, having a flow. So to be honest with you, today my flow is and my mojo is perfect. I remember a couple of days ago, my mojo was horrible. I was on fire in a bad way. And if I would have played on that day, I would have been that wouldn't have helped me. It would have been soothing to be out of the world bubble, but I would have got my ass whooped because I don't have the mofo Joe. I don't have the did you come to win or did you come to play? I would have been coming to play. If you played Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you got to ask yourself the question: did you go there just to play, or did you go there to win? And now, how do you feel today from playing those days, or did you sit out? Uh, like I just danced for an hour and a half, and then, like I said, I'm gonna make another distraction where I'm not gonna get home till like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And you have to learn to do other things. You have to leave the world. I mean, the horse racing bubble. The beautiful thing is I don't have to handicap one race because I'm using the crystal clear clarity board today. The next thing I'm going to do before I go to the karate studio is I'm going to do that crystal clear clarity board for the latter for all of the races that I think are worthy of even looking at. And what is a race that could wow me? A race that could wow me is a race that has, the most, I mean, the best super that was paid yesterday for a dime, which is the type of um, bet I make, was a 12 horse field. It was a 12 horse field. So, because what does a 12 horse field give you? A 12 horse gives you chaos. A 12 horse field gives you uncertainty. A 12 horse field says that anything can happen. An explosion can happen where all the favorites are off the board. And then you have the perfect moment. But that's where, if you're saying what was the perfect race Friday, it's the race that intimidates you the most because you want certainty. Most players want certainty, so they look at a 12 horse field, and as soon as they look at a 12 horse field, they go, "Oh fuck, I got for their pick fives, their pick fours, their pick sixes, their pick threes, their daily doubles." From reading horse racing information, wow, you go fucking insane. Just like again, that's I always try to put on my song during that. There's a clip. The insanity of the game. Um, so again, having a black belt in the art of detachment. You know, leaving the horse racing bubble and going into the world bubble, um, and then let it go. And saying, "Hang on tightly, let go lightly." You guys are hanging on tightly to the racing form. I let it go. I let it go. Um, I hung on to it, trying to find contenders. That's all. The hitting gold is many, many layers beyond the obvious. The hitting gold is many, many layers beyond. What does that mean? What that means is that if you play in a different playground, you can find the hitting gold. If you're addicted to reading the racing form, you can't find the hitting gold. It's going to tell everybody the same thing: who has four legs and who's shiny and who looks pretty for the dance. Who looks pretty for the dance. I'm playing in a playground of, no, I'm taking the girl with the glasses, the raggedy ass dress, the oversized shoes, and I'm coming in just as raggedy because I'm a horse player. But when we get home and she puts on a bathrobe and I put on my bathrobe, now we both are beautiful. And I'm looking for that beautiful moment of perfection, but hidden, not shiny. Like in the Whitney, magnitude is shiny, no interest. The filly shiny, no interest. But then again, it's a 7 horse field, so it's still no interest, even though I have an opinion on Baeza. Even though I've been following Baeza and I'd love to just see him win. So that's okay. Then I don't have to make an investment. I can just watch and hope he does. I've already, exercised my ego with a 7 horse field. And it's just like the Jim Dandy. 75% of the narratives on those races, but that's not where the hitting gold is. The hitting gold is in, like yesterday, in that 12 horse field where people are playing Ortiz and Pratt and the other Ortiz and now Franco. And what comes up? A result that pays almost $3,000 for a dime in the Super. $3,000 for a dime. Why? Because the degree of difficulty was very, very high. And 90% of the horse players are not even going to be looking at the horses that were on that ticket. Some of them were never even on, might not even have been on the turf. I don't know because I'm not looking at horse racing data. I'm just looking at the odds board. And I'm looking what horses are dismissed. And can they get on the ticket in the dime super? And do I have a mojo that tells me something that allows me to go into my pocket and make an investment? Yes. So again, Friday really has been already the wow. I mean, Friday yesterday was unreal. Probably one of the most enjoyable shows I watched in a day in 40 years. Definitely in the top 25. That was just a great day to be a horse player yesterday. So today is just gravy. Today is, but again, it's Super Saturday. It's prom day. And usually, it's more formful. It was great looking at the results. I mean, yesterday. You're looking at the results. The 11th race, the favorite took third. 10th race, he took second. Ninth race, he took third. Wasn't on the board in the eighth. Second in the seventh. Wasn't on the board in the sixth. Second in the fifth. Third in the fourth. Won the third. Third. He won in the third. Third in the second, and off the board in the first. You know, and the thing that was unbelievable was that it was like this last Friday too. But then when I went into Super Saturday last week, I thought that it wouldn't keep going, but it did. So the mojo right now is green light. You can go. That's what I mean by a felt sense. You can go because you're getting data, you're getting information to fill your subconscious, the boss, the man who pulls the trigger, not your conscious person, not the person who wants to read the racing form and be Mr. Know-it-all. No, it's the other guy. And the good thing is I've started this day off with a really, really good uh, mojo. A mojo that just like when I was in college and I played soccer, my mojo on rainy days, no matter what, I could score like 3 goals. I just played phenomenal. That's how today is already feeling. So I'm already away from being on fire, and now, um, having a mojo that is complementary to being successful. And I can say to myself, am I going to play or am I going to win? And I want to go to win, or I don't play. If I wobble, I don't play. But if I can continue this, uh, having a felt sense and letting the bet make me, and then just pull the trigger. But it's not feeding myself information, horse racing information. It's basically just looking at a race that I think that you're definitely not going to want to deal with because the complexity is too high. And then I'm hoping that the favorites get in trouble. And I'm hoping that one of my dismissed horses can make it on the ticket, the Dime Super, and possibly just making one investment out of all those races. And like I said, I'm already passing a bunch of them early in the day. I'm still going to look at who's the dismissed horses and see what the mojo is. Is it going to be now all of a sudden where all the favorites are winning? Is it going to be some type of bias that it just messes the whole day up, or is it going to be bada boom day? I won't know that until I'm in it, and I'm not going to come in it till after the fact a little bit, so that I can stay nice and clean and stay nice and comfortable and relaxed. I don't have to feel uncomfortable because I have high anxiety. I don't have to feel like I'm rushed. I don't have to feel like I have to do anything. So there's no better position to be in. There's no better position to be the person who's just watching and watching and watching in the bleachers, watching and not being called in. But if I'm called in, then I'm more than ready. I'm more than ready to jump. But no ego, the ego buster. Because I believe you can beat a race, but you can't beat the races. The crystal clear clarity board after I see the odds open, or even before, which would be more ideal before. And the longer you wait, if I'm trying to make a decision with 5 minutes to go, that's too much time. That's too much. Because then anxiety will come in, then emotion will come in, and instead of being a machine, now all of a sudden you're a person. You don't want to be a person when you're doing that. You want to be a machine, and you've already fed all the data in, and then you make a decision. You take you take a leap and risk a unit. You take a leap and risk a unit, and you don't have an ego that, oh man, I'm going to pick it because I'm so smart. No, you got lucky. You just got lucky. You got the bump you needed. You got the other bump you needed. And then for some reason, your three-legged animal had four fucking legs when he's coming down the track. And he takes second at 47-1, like yesterday. And you get almost $3,000 for your dime. Yeah, you had to put in 800. But you got lucky and you got paid. You got lucky and you had an unbelievably enjoyable experience. That's playing the game as a coach, as a sixth man, as somebody who comes out of the bleachers once in a while and gets a rubber dub. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my crystal clear clarity boards, and then I'm gonna chill. And then I'll show you, during the races, I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance, baby, dance. I might rollerblade later, but and it's basically just to keep my chi, keep my inner being, so that I'm a ninja when I want to make an investment, not some fragile, beat up dude, who's played already 20 races since Wednesday. So again, like Aubrey Pack would say, may the horse be with you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.